Hello and welcome to this week's energy forecast. Not sure this is my brightest idea I've ever had, doing the forecast in my backyard, but it is really perfect for what the vibe is going on, not just this week, but like all through May. And it is change, and with change there's often chaos, there's often fuckery. I feel like I've been using that word a lot lately, but it's just what it feels like. And when I'm going through a change, I feel like it should only affect that one thing that I'm changing. But every single time I'm proven wrong. I'm proven that when one thing changes, everything changes. So you may feel like there's just one thing that's going on in your life that you're adjusting. But it doesn't matter if you change your hair color, if you change your nail color, if you change the route you drive to work or your car. One thing changes, everything changes. And that is part of being a human, and our evolution is that it's like the butterfly effect, right? Every flap of a wing changes the course of many other things. Every ripple in the ocean that you make has an impact for all of eternity. Whoa. So, I'm moving into a teaching phase where I'm still doing my normal work, but I'm kind of ramping up to get into this next level, and I am so excited. It's like all that I think about. And look at what we're doing for the energy forecast this week. I'm trying to set up in my house, and I'm like, I don't feel like doing my hair. I don't feel like trying to pick out a shirt. I don't feel like putting makeup on. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. And I'm like, okay, am I not supposed to be doing the energy forecast? And I'm like, that seems like I'm kind of writing it off unnecessarily. Being out in the elements. Could be ants, it could be flies, it could be birds flying by, we don't know. There's been trucks, there's been children, there's been a lot of stuff going on here already. Hence why it's as late as it is. So yeah, I was like, am I not supposed to be doing the energy forecast? And I'm like, I don't think that's it. And then I was like, what do I really want? I want to be outside. I've been organizing my house and, getting it ready for people to be in it. I just felt like it needed a little facelift, and I wanted to be outside after all that rearranging. I don't know about you, but I feel like when I rearrange the furniture, the energy feels different, and I kind of whoa, I feel a little swirly. So I'm outside, but I'm like, oh, I've never done the energy forecast outside. What kind of nonsense is gonna happen here? And so far, a lot of nonsense, but you know what? I'm still really happy that I followed my intuition, right? That inner knowing that says it would feel so good to be outside. And instead of trying to figure out what things could get in my way, it's like I have this impulse, I have this desire. What if things could work out better than expected? What if this could be a really cool unfolding? So the change that you're going through, even again, maybe you change the color of your walls, maybe you changed, some way you're doing your hair. It's really as insignificant as your hair looks great, by the way, but as insignificant as a change like that could be, it has a ripple effect. It changes things in your life. So if you feel overwhelmed, if you're feeling extra anxious, if you have this kind of jittery anticipation and a sense of overwhelm when you really know you got things covered, or maybe you don't know and you're still waiting to see if things pan out all right, that's just the vibe right now. It's spring, it's renewal. We're moving through this next phase of this pandemic. It is funky stuff. Just seeing, I went out to brunch and just seeing people, it's like everyone's a little noobs, it's first grade again. It's beginning phase again. We're getting to know ourselves and the world around us all over again. So take it easy, do what's easy, do what feels good. I have spent so much of my life doing what I think I should be doing, what is maybe the hardest thing to do, you know, that kind of way of being, like, do the hardest thing and then everything else will feel easy. Well, I've done that and I fucking hate that. I realize in so many different ways how bittersweet it is that life comes and it goes. Like, this is but a dream, right? This is just a flash and then it's gone. Do I really want to be consuming my time, my life, with doing what's hard and then what's easy? Well, maybe you do. Maybe your answer is like, yeah, like that really resonates with me, and I'm no diss whatsoever. But for me, I want to do what's easy. And, you know, even coming out here, I was like, this feels so good to be outside. And maybe you can't hear me as well. Maybe it's kind of annoying. You can hear the birds and the trucks and the traffic and all the stuff. But I mean this from my heart, that it's not my business and it's not my job to make sure this feels all right to you. It is my job to take care of me. And this is how I can provide information while also tending to myself. I want to do what feels good and then see what happens. So I have been finalizing my teaching manual all day and finalizing certificates, you know, like really getting the wording down and getting ready to send for print. And so I was on the computer for a good amount of the day and it all felt good, but just that computer life is not my favorite life. So then, you know, I ate and I was like, all right, like it's time for the energy forecast. But again, I don't want to blow dry my hair. I don't want to do anything that I normally do for it. Why? Because some things have changed in my life and therefore everything has changed. If one thing changes, everything changes. And doesn't that make sense why we avoid change like we do? It's like, oh, no wonder, because it fucking upheaves, whatever. It uproots, whatever the heck that word is, whatever, however you want to imagine that. It throws your whole life into upheaval. And who the fuck wants to do that? Well, if we're here for a short amount of time, I think I want to do that. And so I am willing to change, and therefore I'm willing to face the discomfort, because I mean, life is uncomfortable. You know, if you stay the same, it's uncomfortable. If you change, it's uncomfortable. So you might as well do what you feel most called to do. And if that's stay the same forever, do you. I have no judgment about that. But for me, I want to change. I want to keep seeing like the edges of my comfort zone and see if I can just step just an inch outside, an inch outside, an inch outside to see where this takes me. And this is like my soul's destiny, my soul's contract. Like, imagine you coming, maybe whatever kind of vision you want to imagine, but you coming into this physical form in your mother's womb, and you're like, and they're like, sign on the dotted line, like, you ready for this? And it's like, okay, a lot of change, or, you know, kind of vanilla life, but deep insight, you know, and you're like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. And you sign on to have the quirks that you do and the personality that you do and go through the life experiences you do. Imagine, right? And it's like, okay, so to each their own. I really do my very best not to judge anybody on their path, because the hundreds of people I've worked on, you know, everyone is right. Imagine that. Everyone is right from their personal perspective. So who am I to say I know better, or this is the way that you should live? This is the way that I want to live. So again, I was on the computer and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, to sit inside longer, like, so I laid down, I gave myself some Reiki, like I checked in with my head, I checked in with my heart, and I was like, I want to celebrate myself. And I'm like, okay, that's right. That feels good. And it's like, yeah, like I've been consumed with like this mental space. So I want to love myself. And then I was like, well, what does that look like? And then I heard black hat. And I'm like, oh yeah, I've been wanting a black hat. And I was like, TJ Maxx. And I'm like, maybe. So I go to TJ Maxx. I don't find a black hat, but I don't think that's why my soul said, hey, black hat. My intuition said, hey, black hat. It was so much more. I found a little side table thing. I found pillows. I found a beautiful blanket. I found all these beautiful things that I didn't even know I wanted, but were exactly what I wanted. You know, when you see something and you're like, oh, I didn't know I wanted that, but I want that. Yeah, so I was guided to TJ Maxx, and this may sound like, oh yeah, you were guided. Like, no, I'm really not a big shopper, and I feel my way through life, and that felt like that really resonated. And so I get that stuff, I put it in my house, I'm sweeping up, I'm like, oh my gosh, this feels so good, this feels so good, this feels so good. Oh, I'm so glad I listened to myself. This is me celebrating a new chapter in my life. And then again, it led me to be out here, and I'm walking outside in my yoga pants and like my sports bra, and I'm like, oh gosh, like where am I even gonna set up? And I was like, just go where it feels good, go where it feels good, go where it feels good. And here I am. There's like an ant pile over here, and I'm not being attacked by ants yet. And again, the traffic of this time of day, but here we are. It's all right. I am where I am, and it's all right. So change for you may look completely different than me, and that's all right. That's how it's supposed to be. But this week, we're being called to really look into how we are resisting where we feel called to go and where we think we should go. It's going to be a very interesting dance between the mind and the intuition this week, and you know, neither is wrong. Today I said to myself, okay, it's scheduled in for me to work on my manual, and so I'm not going to go for a walk with Brad and his dad, and then, you know, I'm washing my face and getting ready to do that, and I'm like, my mind is saying, you have to sit down, you have to do this. But in my heart, I'm going, I want to walk. I want to enjoy this beautiful day. I want to spend time with people I love. Like, that is a value of mine. That is part of the reason I do what I do. So I have the freedom that I want. So notice the old tendencies. Because guys, it's up, it's up, it's up, it's up. So your knee-jerk reaction, your immediate, when I say like, blue house, your knee-jerk, oh, where I grew up, or oh, my Cape house, or you know, whatever your knee-jerk reaction is. So your knee-jerk reactions are, I mean, they're not wrong, but maybe they need to be updated. Maybe you want to check in on another level of your being and going, okay, that's my knee-jerk reaction, and what is it that I feel, and what is it that I think? Those are two really good questions. What is it that I feel right now, and what is it that I think? What do I think I should do, and what do I want to do? See what comes up. The birds are just putting on a show. I know the sun's going down, but this is like, really wish all of y'all were sitting here with me, just enjoying. Oh, maybe you can hear it. Maybe you've seen some cool stuff fly by. And most of all, I think this week we're being reminded to love our humanness while also embracing that spirit side, that being side, that is love, that is just feeling so blessed for being alive in this physical form. You are just, I just screaming from the rooftops, you are not in the wrong place. You are exactly where you are supposed to be in this moment, and maybe there's some stuff around you to clean up, and that's all right. What's the big hurry? Yes, life is short, and if we're constantly hurrying to get away from our pain and what have you, we're not getting that like whole milk version. We're not going deep. So on that note, oh, the ants are coming to me. So I wish you well. I thank you for showing up. I wish you a beautiful week ahead. I'm thinking of doing the energy forecast actually a day earlier, so maybe coming to you on Sundays, but I'm not making any promises because we'll see how I feel. But thank you as always for tuning in. Thank you for listening, for sharing, for becoming a student of mine, for being a client of mine, for being a friend of mine. I deeply appreciate you, and take good care of yourself. Bye.